What up, Panther fans? You're listening to the C3 BeatCheck. That's right, it's the BeatCheck, where we mic up, we put a mic on the ground, see what's going down in Carolina. I don't know, I just said that off the top of my head, but sounds silly now that I think about it. But each and every week, we're trying to grab a beat writer to hang out with and get the inside scoop. Sadly, tonight, we had a cancelization. After a movement, after shuffling the schedule, got somebody to move because we double booked, and then the person we booked didn't make it. But it's okay, because we got some cool things to talk about tonight. Despite the loss of the beat reporter, we actually have some interesting news, and that is we learned and heard from CJ Henderson today in his first press conference, and I gotta say, whew, tough. I don't know. It's tough. But anyway, CK, we just got out of the lab, bro. We were in the lab filming a new little piece we put together, whipped up together on the fly, and I think it's going to be a hit.
Yeah, Tony Dunn, listen, we are excited to continue to put together these new shows. We think that they're going to be a lot of fun. We already have a ton of Panther faithful in the chat room. These Wednesday nights, we're going to check the Panthers beat on the C3 BeatCheck. That's what this show is for. We're going to have a bunch of people. As you've already seen that we've been doing, we've had Joe Person. We're going to be getting a lot of people on this show to really tell us what they think about the Carolina Panthers, what goes into some of the questions that they asked to different players. And we had a last minute cancellation, but it'll be all right. The C3 BeatCheck is going to continue on. We're going to talk a little bit about CJ Henderson. And what a first interview, right? Even though we didn't really say that much, I feel like there's still a ton to say about the interview and just a ton to talk about overall, Tony.
I think that might be the last interview you ever hear from CJ. And what I mean by that is I don't feel like he is going to be a dude that is begging for the mic, nor someone who the team is going to be hoping to trot out to the mic. And unless you're just a beat reporter who's trying to make fun of somebody who don't like to talk to reporters, then and Jay Stubbs got me shook.
Right.
But anyway, unless you're a beat reporter who is just trying to get somebody to say something, he doesn't even say enough to say something stupid. He just repeats the question back to you. In many ways. Anyway, CJ Henderson, the storyline, let's start with him, is that we heard that when the Panthers made the trade, they traded Darnold. We started looking into the CJ Henderson talk because of such a highly touted prospect. Many questions were asked and surfaced about why the Jacksonville Jaguars would move on from him. And he was even asked from that, why was he moved on so quickly from by the Jacksonville Jaguars? And he basically said,
asked him, by the way,
yeah,
no shocker there, Mr. Uncouth himself.
Well, I mean, actually, I think is that I do think somebody should have asked him, with all the discussion floating around about the Urban Meyer and Charlie Strong going to the team, going to your house to make sure you're getting on the right track. What's to be made of that? Is that is there anything to this, or is this fans and media dousing fires on something to get a storyline? I think that would be a fair question to ask and let him control the narrative. The problem is that he absolutely looked like he needed a hug.
Yeah, he looked like he had just been traded or something. I sort of think that that's just his personality, to be honest, Tony. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about this guy. He definitely seems like he has a somber kind of personality, but
somber. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, really,
the dude was just like a sad fellow. Like, I felt like he was, if he had more creativity, I would say he should be like a blues singer at this point, man. Good God.
I mean, I even sort of got some James Bradbury vibes from him. I mean, in the same fact that James Bradbury wasn't ever much of a talker, but I don't know, man. And then again, seeing this kind of interview and seeing him look, ostensibly bored, it doesn't lend very well to the notion that he just doesn't love football. And again, these are all rumors that no one can.
It doesn't lend to the notion that he does love football either.
Yeah,
there was nothing in that. In fact, I felt like it was like, can someone check to see if he has a pulse?
Felipe in the chat says serial killer,
silent killer.
Yeah, silent killer. But then I have seen. Here we go. Trail One says serial killer type to me. And hey, let's just hope he's a serial killer on the football field, shutting down wide receivers like we're hoping that he does. Listen, I'm hopeful for the young man. I do think he just has one of those weird, awkward kind of personalities. The young guy is, 21, 22 years old. I hate even saying stuff like, does he love football? Is he or isn't he depressed? It's like a lot of it is just conjecture anyway, stuff that we'll never be able to know. But at the same time, man, I really do think that being on this football team and how good we are right now, I mean, he can do anything that he wants to do here. He can be as good as he wants to be. CJ Henderson is in an environment that should help uplift him as a football player. And I think this might be just what the doctor ordered from him. Dante Jackson apparently had already said that he's been very inquisitive. He's asking questions and that he wants to know more and be a part of the football team. So, Tony, if he has that kind of mindset, dude, I don't care if he, if it looks like he's about to cry. As long as he does his job and is able to do so with some semblance of, togetherness, then I'm all about it, man.
He's asking questions like, where's the bathroom at? Where do you come in? Where do you walk in the stadium at? I gotta go to the bathroom. I would say for him is it might just be a case of having zero personality, right? You say a somber personality. Like, I mean, it was like you got traded. He's like, oh, they barely knew that.
Just introverted, maybe just
or just zero, just not a lot there. And I mean, I'm not talking about intellect. I'm not trying to knock on anybody, but have you ever met somebody and they're just like not a good conversationalist?
Oh, many people. Yeah,
I'm not trying to say that they're done. Like, that's not the point. It's just like some people have more personality, and some people have. His personality was like on like a Quaalude level, dude. I mean, it was like you can't get that's the guy that you want to like land the plane for you in a disaster zone. Like, everybody else is freaking out, and this dude's just like,
I bet he has a really low resting heart rate. Yeah, he's just super calm at all times. Hey man, again, dude, I'm happy to have him. I think he's in a good position here now. Hopefully, because of him, this offense is just going to be able to pick up where it left off and keep on chugging. Shout out to 89J Subs for the 199. It says, to be fair, he answered the question all the right way. So, yeah.
He also has a great way of answering questions, is like whatever the lead they gave him to the question, because Charlotte media is so nice, right? Charlotte media is just nice. And I don't think they should be mean to this guy, like on purpose or anything. But the hardest question, again, was asked by David Newton. And it was just like, why do you think they moved on from you so quickly? And that's barely even a hard question. But everybody else, Jonathan Alexander, just Person, all the people started their question with a leading point. Like, so how excited are you about coming from an 0-3 team to a 3-0 team? It's got to be refreshing to come to such a great defense or something like they gave. And so he'd just be like, yes, refreshing to be on a new team. I think I get a fresh start. So look, is that, I think one of the things that's funny about it is that we're more excited for him to be here than he is.
Yeah, by a lot. At least so it would seem,
I feel like he's one of those guys. It's like you want to go to like the best steakhouse and be like, sure. You want to go to McDonald's?
And again, listen, I've known a lot of people like this in my life that just they're introverted people, man. And he's not necessarily that. And
well, introverted also just means that you have a good person. You have a personality. It's just hidden. This one just seemed like no. It was like just nothing. It was just. I mean, I'm not saying it was just like it was zero. It was just. It's like really. It's like.
And you know what else I think it is, Tony? I think cornerbacks are traditionally known as like the loud, yappy, getting into fight type of position on the football team, and the fact that he is just so completely opposite of that, it's noticeable. So
I do. Yeah, you're right, and just you don't have to. Like they always talk about like how leadership displays. Like just because you're in front of the mic all the time wanting attention doesn't mean you're a good leader. Right. Some people do it through, like you said, James Bradbury is a great example of that. I think that Taylor Moton was kind of a little bit like that. And even another person that was very big like this to me was K1 Short. Arguably, Shaq Thompson was like this in the beginning. Not to this level, though, to where it just looked like, man, I don't even, it was like, just give this dude a hug. It's time to be happy. You're on a 3-0 team. The one thing that did stick out to me is that Matt Rule recently said, we just want a bunch of dogs and alpha players. And, who was he talking about that plays like that? JC or something like this. And I was like, man, this guy might be, I don't know if that's him. You better be listening to some Rage Against the Machine. He's gonna have to get him. Some people are gonna pumped up. Dante Jackson is gonna be his like personal cheerleader. That's what it's gonna have to be.
He might have to be.
I tell you what. Move around the beat. How about this? Since we don't have an interview tonight, let's check out what's being said on the streets. If you got a cat scratch reader, Uter, gross matos. Right?
Yeah, that's how I say it. I feel like everyone has their own gross matos or gross. I say Uter gross matos because to me that just kind of rolls off the tongue better. But gross matos, if that's how you say it, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've heard him say it before.
Yeah, Grizz the Cat Pack Guru says, "Why does this matter?" Well, number one, it matters because we're all excited about this corner. Right, this trade and this acquisition. That's one thing that matters. Number two, the Panthers are the ones who trotted them all out there. And number three is every dang reporter in the world showed up for a 6-minute interview today. That's the one you should have stayed with your family and just eating dinner and just cutting the Cliff Notes live. And I wonder if you're not going to be able to ask questions since they only gave like 5 questions out. I'd rather just be zooming into this joint. Maybe a lot of them were. Why does it matter? Another reason is it doesn't, in one sense, is that somebody's personality and their play are not causal all the time. Sometimes it could be corollary. But as fans, I feel like all the time we're trying to get to know players. Like we want to know inside workings of who these people are. And the irony is that sometimes when we get to know them, we don't like them. And not like, so for instance, Cam's like this is like, I love Cam, but as people get to know Cam Newton, some people decide they wish they wouldn't know. So they're like, I wish he would just say what he was supposed to say. Like you want these players on one hand to have like to be honest and authentic. And then when they don't say what you want to say, you want them to be like, why can't they just be more scripted? Or another one I think would be a good example of a past player is Eric Reid. We want to get to know players all the time. And then when you get to know this player and he is outspoken politically, he is, very vocal at press conferences at all of this point about what he wants to talk about. And then guess what? The fans circle back and they say, why didn't you just stick to football? So we want to get to know him till we get to know that we didn't want to know him. And CJ Henderson, I don't know what category he's in on this one, but we're excited and we need there's a lot of buzz coming around in here of how this could lend towards a long-term, building of this secondary. So I think that we are fueling the questions because our optimism, our interest about the future is at stake. All right. So as we continue to go around, they're reporting Grossman to YGM and John Miller limited in practice today, but that means they were practicing. So John Miller, who has gotten beat like a drum on this offensive line a lot, I guess we need him no matter what, particularly because who we lose? F-line. It says they were limited. According to Joe Person, YGM limited ankle. CJ Henderson full participant. The other thing that's has been moving around and moving and shaking on the beat is Tim Jenkins did a breakdown of Sam Darnold.
Chris Jenkins?
No.
Oh, no, you mean Tim Jenkins.
Our friend.
We do know Tim. Yeah, both of our friends.
Yeah, we have a lot of Jenkins friends.
Yeah, we really do.
The stinking Jenkins. No, Tim Jenkins, if you can check out his YouTube channel, you can find his work. He is the founder of Jenkins Elite Football. You can find his channel is hold on, let me give you the name so I don't mess it up. Because it's All Things Quarterback, hosted by Tim Jenkins. He did a Sam Darnold Week 3 against the Houston look view of Sam Darnold's performance, and was rightfully complimentary of it's not a long video. He's keeping them short and just showing some things that look really good. But that pass, one of the ones that he highlighted. I love when the things that give you the eyeball test prove to people who know what they're looking at, like it verifies my position. And who's that guy that's been returning punts for us? Erickson.
Yeah, Erickson.
Cole you remember that pass that Sam Darnold threw to him on like third down?
Yeah, throwing out to his right. Yeah, on that little leak route. Yeah, for sure.
Like when I saw that, I was like, man, that's special. Like that was like a badass. I didn't know. I thought it was Zylstra who caught it at the time. I had no idea that the other guy was playing.
He was also very complimentary of DJ Moore too. If you watch that whole video, he was making it sound like to him, DJ Moore is one of the better receivers in all of the NFL. And I think he makes a point in that now that we're getting to see DJ Moore's abilities, now that he does have a quarterback with a live arm throwing him the football, DJ is off to one of the best starts. The very best start of his career, and that's that's not a surprise right now. I think Sam is continuing to play well and continuing to play better. I did want to clarify that we're live. I saw some people in the chat room wondering even why we were talking about CJ Henderson and his personality. Listen, this is one of the talks of Panther Nation right now, especially considering the rumors around this young man and whether or not he loves football. I'm not judging a person based off of who he is on just one measly interview. None of us know the dude. But if they already have this narrative around him that he's not very interested in playing football, once upon a time he'd even considered retiring from football, even though he's only been in the NFL 1 year. I mean, this is the stuff that's on everybody's mind. So we're not just blowing this into a story where there isn't one. So again, we're just talking about what's on the mouth and mind of Panther Nation. Everyone is happy and excited for CJ to be here. And we want him to be as successful as he can be. And frankly, we're all hoping that he's going to be able to come in and substitute for J.C. Horn, who's been absolutely shutting people down. So we're happy for CJ, and we're hoping that the Carolina Panthers are the best thing to happen to his career.
You'll love to hear this. If we turn to the Athletic right now on the beat is Panthers. This is Joe Person. Panthers still can be a playoff team, but need a better plan for Christian McCaffrey. Last night, the debate got heated on the C3 Panthers podcast about the usage of Christian McCaffrey and how much we should be protecting them. Panthers also, this is according to Joe Person, Panthers also lost Justin Burris against the Texans. They lost J.C. Horn, and he goes on to say that here is this is McCaffrey has his own team of trainers, nutritionists, and the like, but Rule said the 25-year-old back has done a really good job this year of working with the Panthers trainers as well as the strength and conditioning staff. He said, I think we'll have a really good plan for him, quote from Matt Rule. I still don't have a great feel of the severity of it, what it is. They've given me a time frame, but they're still doing a bunch of different things to make sure. I think Christian will do exactly what needs to be done. I know he wants to get back out there. He'll be out there as soon as possible. Joe Person goes on to say this, the Panthers should take a page from the Saints in their handling of running back Alvin Kamara, who has never played more than 660 offensive snaps in a season since entering the league with McCaffrey in 2017. McCaffrey's averaged 917 snaps a year for his first preseason game. So Joe Person, with the caveat, says, I don't know what the number is, but this isn't the number that it should be. I don't know if I agree with this because this was a non-contact injury. And I'd also wonder, that's interesting, is that McCaffrey is so elite. He brought his own conditioning. He don't show up to the conditioning room there. He does his own conditioning, and it does work, obviously. But Joe Person says we got to have this non-plan plan, or the CMC all play plan is not the plan.
I mean, yeah, listen, you and I are kind of fundamentally disagree. And I don't even know if we really even disagree all that much. I'm just saying that with a player as important as Christian McCaffrey, and really, I don't care, who the name is. If you have a part of your offense, or a player rather, and so much of your offense is tethered to that person, then load management has to be a part of the conversation, and not having him in on all these different snaps. Having a running back too is very important, and I think that now we're at least going to get the opportunity to see whether or not Chuba Hubbard actually is that. So, I mean, listen, we all hope Christian McCaffrey comes back healthy and as good as new. But I mean, my question is actually for you. But once Christian comes back from this hamstring injury, would you use Christian exactly the same way that we've been using him up to this point?
Yeah, I don't know what we've really done that's like exceptionally crazy, to be honest. Is that I mean, they say 30. What is like the most? They had 30 touches one game. I mean, I don't. If that number's too much, then is 25 okay? Or I don't know. Is that I do think that it was interesting that in the Madden simulations we did, right, that C3's done, as also in the preseason, it felt like we were so pass heavy, and then you came out early and we're very run heavy with Christian McCaffrey in the beginning. So I think that this time right here is that maybe as Sam Darnold gets confidence, gains more confidence. The Panthers have seen that they're rushing, the run blockers aren't that great. That maybe we're just going to have to open the playbook up to be a more passing offense, and that maybe that'll find a way to shelter Christian McCaffrey. The problem is that he's the better, blocker than Chuba Hubbard is, who is a rookie. Ron Rivera would have never played Chuba Hubbard a snap, let alone all the snaps. I'm surprised Chuba's gotten as many reps as he has, given, he's had a fumble, he's had, some drop passes. Matt Rule's called him out on missing blocks. He just needs to put some more weight on, right, and to get to the kind of the NFL strength level. I don't know if that's weight or just country strong, but I don't really know what else to do, right? I mean, like, what else do you do? I don't know if 4 snaps is going to make a difference. I mean, I guess that does take it down 10%, right? Like, if you getting 30 reps and you go 4 less reps, that's 10% load management.
Yeah, I mean, especially like if you're up a touchdown or 2 in the third or fourth quarter, give CMC a break. Get the running back 2 in there. early on, especially when you're trying to put points on the board, yeah, be Christian McCaffrey heavy and use him in all of his different assets and all the skill set that he has, and let that man play. I understand that completely. I just want to be able to have Christian McCaffrey for the playoffs. I want this man to be 100% healthy and ready to go, considering we make it that far. And I'm 100% in believement that we will. So, dude, I'm just, I feel like people have this idea that I'm like somehow anti-Christian McCaffrey. I'm not, dude. I love Christian as a player. I'm just concerned about his injury history, and I'm hoping and I'm worrisome that that's going to continue to catch up with him. I hope I'm wrong, because I want Christian McCaffrey to help us win the Super Bowl. Damn it.
Yeah, I think the best. I think that all things have to be looked at just in more than like blanket statements, and that's why when Josh Klein came on here and said, in that final drive when you're up and you're not going to lose the game, that's when I have an issue of them using Christian McCaffrey. Sure. And that's those arguments resonate, right? Is that when and how, if you can find ways to give him less, a carry, 4 less carries in a game that you're losing, that you could potentially win, is not the load management I want. 4 or 10 less carries in a game that you're winning handily, with a defense that's holding them, in check, is the game that I think we can start thinking about those types of things. So I like that. I just, you want your best players to play. But Christian McCaffrey has been it's like a problem for offensive coordinators, and no one's been able to crack the code yet, because he's like the best player, right? He's like your super player on the team. And so no offensive coordinator wants to take the guy off the field. Every single one of them has said, we got to try to get a rotation in. Every single offensive coordinator we've had has said, we got to do this. We got to make sure we're doing the right things to protect our player. And then everybody just trots him out every play.
Yeah, they say it, but they have no real intention of sticking with it. Yeah, and it's kind of frustrating too. And I think, again, we don't want to rehash old stuff, but dating back to Cam Newton and how his injury was handled, and even to a lesser extent Greg Olsen, it's like at what point are we trotting players out there to potentially do more damage to themselves, and especially running back, which doesn't tend to have very long careers anyway. So again, this is going to be something that they're going to have to grow and adapt with. And again, I don't want to be a broken record, but the blessing in disguise that this represents is very real, because now Joe Brady is going to be able to see what they can do on offense without him, open up that playbook. And then once Christian McCaffrey comes back, you're going to have to manage that again, getting him involved, but making sure everybody is getting their fair share of touches. I'll say this, no matter if we do or don't have Christian McCaffrey, our offensive line has to be a whole lot better than it has been.
True that. I have one more point I was going to. It does seem like Brady after week 1, because there was a lot of criticism after week 1 about how much Christian McCaffrey was used. It was like 30 touches. 30. This is crazy. If you use this pace right here for the rest of the year, it's going to be insane. And then the next week they came out and started putting Chuba Hubbard in a lot or more. Right. So it seemed like they were trying to find, they've been forcing Hubbard in there when he hasn't even been that great. Maybe he's a rhythm back. Maybe he just needs experience. I heard someone talking about that he's playing too fast, potentially, Hubbard. And, is that he's trying so hard to make a play. That's why he's dropping the ball. He's almost got anxious and some things. And that the game is very fast for rookies, and hopefully it slows down. Like to see him take a step forward or really be some exciting, carry the load a little bit, because losing Mike Davis did create this kind of vacuum here in case Christian McCaffrey went down. In my keeper fantasy football league, the only way to win this league is to get stars late in the game that you're going to use in the years to come. So I'm always trying to draft people in these back rounds that could be something in the future. Terrace Marshall Jr. grabbed him. Trey Lance grabbed him in the late rounds. But another was Chuba Hubbard. But this was almost a handcuff pick since we had no other running backs in case Christian McCaffrey went down. And guess what? I'm starting Chuba Hubbard this week in my fantasy football league because Josh Jacobs is injured. And I need a guy that's going to get the reps. So I hope that he can answer the challenge. I don't know if I'm that worried about Dallas when it comes to their defense. I feel like all of a sudden their defense, now they did hold the Chargers pretty well.
They did.
The Bucks, they had a shootout with the Bucks. Philly, I don't know what to make of them really. Is that they could barely beat Atlanta.
Yeah, and apparently the Cowboys have a very good record against division opponents, especially under Dak Prescott too. So I don't think that matchup on Monday night tells us a ton about the Dallas Cowboys. Going back to Chuba Hubbard, listen, Tony, how cool would it be if we had Christian McCaffrey and we knew that we had a serviceable young RB number 2? I've always been a big proponent of never fully judging a player off of their rookie season, because there have been a number of cases where sometimes players will go the first 2 or 3 years, without doing much in their career, and then to find that spark that ultimately turns it on. Hopefully it won't be that long for Chuba. I think he has some rookie growing pains, but listen, if you've seen the man and his college highlights and what he was able to do at Oklahoma State, the man is a powerful runner. He doesn't typically go down at first contact, and he needs to get better catching passes. But I think that he
couldn't get that fourth. I was pissed, man. He couldn't get that 4th down conversion in the Houston game, and you got to wonder why they didn't put the bigger back in Royce Freeman in that spot. But the offensive line, I felt like, created a big hole on 4th and 1. And now the Texans, it could have been, I would love to hear from an offensive lineman or someone who knew more about the technique of football and like what you're trying to accomplish in those situations, because to me, it looked like, hey, the offensive line pushed all the frontline defenders of the Texans right, and they created this gap. Now the Texans did a great job. The linebackers did a great job of funneling into this gap. Like 2 guys come in there to meet Hubbard. So he's trying to, at that point, you're trying to gain a head of steam and bring contact to those guys and win the contact battle, I would think is how it goes. He wasn't able to do that. And he's like you said, he's a strong runner, but that was at the collegiate level. At this level, that country strong, that NFL strong is, might take a little time to get there. But like you said, of not judging a player too early. Yeah, I don't want to. I think the Panthers have shown their commitment to this kid a lot. I'm not used to a squad that a coaching staff that does this, that went and draft their guys and believes in them so much they're going to keep putting them in no matter what. Right? It's like the coaching staff we're used to is a guy that drafts people and then doesn't ever put them in. They put them in, they don't do well, and they never put them in again. But what happened to guys like, if we don't judge someone by their first year, like what about Jordan Scarlett? Where the heck is that dude at? Like,
I always felt like we gave up on him too easy. I wanted to see more from him, and we never got the opportunity to do so. So, again, we can go back to, what was your man's name? Cameron Artis-Payne, who, you have always felt never got his fair shake either. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just hoping that Chuba is able to take that next step, man. I know everyone wants all of our rookies to come out and be an all-star right away, and that's just, it's not true for everyone. But Chuba has a really good opportunity in front of him now here, doesn't he? An opportunity.
Well, you gotta. These are the moments, man, that make stars in the NFL, right? Is that for instance, like Jordan Scarlett was given one training camp in like one game to prove himself, and he was like a 4th round pick. Imagine being an undrafted kid. Like you get like 3 plays. Like that's where you got to give the credit to the Zylstras and guys like this. Somehow they've made an impression in such a small sample set. Damiere Byrd is, again, another guy like this. This kid makes it on every team he goes to, right? The Panthers gave him shots. He made it. Patriots gave him shots. He made it. Bears gave him shots, made it, right? Like, I mean, he's just everywhere. Now, he doesn't stick with anybody too long because he's always the bubble player, but the opportunity is the window's so small. And right now, Hubbard got a window that someone opened it for him bigger than it was supposed to be open right now. Like, you can either climb through or fall out, and he needs to climb through that window, because really he thought he's going to be sitting a whole year behind Christian McCaffrey getting 99% of the snaps. I ain't going to do squat till next year.
Yeah, really. So I mean, listen, we're going to need him too, big time, in these next few weeks.
All right, if you go over to Cat Crave right now, the story up by Dean Jones. Dean Jones doing good work at Cat Crave. They have brought back a lot of content under his leadership, editorial leadership. I tell you, though, Dean Jones loves the dang list story. I hate a list story where you got to click with the next page, the next page, the next page. But here is 4 ways that the Carolina Panthers quarterback Sam Darnold can hurt the Cowboys in week 1. I guess this would be number 1. Sam Darnold must get Robbie Anderson involved. Right. We in our little upcoming video that you guys will see have had a conversation about DJ Moore versus CeeDee Lamb. And right now, these guys are both slated to the prop bets for CeeDee Lamb 79.5 yards receiving, and Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore 78.5 receiving yards. Both of these guys are slated by the bookies to get the most action. Robbie Anderson, who got a ton of action last year, who became a possession receiver with a quarterback that couldn't throw downfield, has kind of fallen back into his role of the deep threat guy, and of getting 2 or 3 catches a game. He's going to get big yards maybe on one of those catches if they connect. But right now, Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson have not been able to connect downfield all that much, and it seems like the rapport is more so with DJ Moore. So right now is Dean Jones is saying it's time to diversify this offense, particularly in the wake of Christian McCaffrey. I would guess he's going to say something to that effect there. So that's number 1 way. Number 2, must trust his tight ends, and that trust is going to be a lot of don't be trembling. Make them be trembling. Tommy Trembling going to get a big opportunity. The next one is that Sam Darnold must use his athleticism. Going back, one of the big plays that kind of stunk was that big run that he had that was called back, a 38-yard run. That was really going to put a dagger in the Texans a little bit earlier. So you use that athleticism. His off-platform throws have been pretty good. And the last one is Sam Darnold must avoid silly mistakes. Out of those 4, Robbie Anderson getting involved, avoiding silly mistakes, trusting in your tight ends, and using your athleticism. What speaks to you out of that list?
I really like using the athleticism. Right now, I do believe Sam Darnold is actually tied for the most rushing touchdowns in the NFL right now, which is a weird stat in and of itself. But listen, people forget that Sam Darnold is 6'4", 220 plus pounds, and he is an athletic quarterback. And, especially in goal line scenarios where you're able to have the threat of the quarterback run, it just makes the offense all the more dynamic. I really do think getting Sam more involved in the run game, especially now that we don't have Christian McCaffrey out there, that might be what this offense needs, especially when the offensive line isn't playing so well. Move Sam out of the pocket, let him run the football a little bit, and really take advantage of that athleticism. And I really do, to their credit, think that they have been trying to make a concerted effort to do that.
You're listening to the C3 BeatCheck, where on Wednesday nights we're going to get together catch up with a beat writer and check out what the word is on the streets. Tonight we had a little scheduling problem with our guest at the last second, so we are putting our ear to the ground right now and finding out the news on those streets. Here's another list story from old Dean Jones, and that is 5 players whose stock is soaring at this point. Daquan Jones is one. DJ Moore is another. Dante Jackson is number 3. Sam Darnold is number 4. And my favorite, I'm going to take the lead on this conversation. His stock isn't soaring because it's all, well, I guess it is soaring. It's the ultimate soaring. It's stratospheric. Hassan Reddick here, baby. Hassan Reddick. I mean, it's not like he's been ascending. Like Sam Darnold's kind of ascending at this point. Dante Jackson, I feel like, is playing better and better, a little bit better each week. I mean, but he started out hot too. Daquan Jones is busting onto the scene. DJ Moore's just doing what DJ Moore has always done at this point. Yeah. But Hassan Reddick the question was he a flash in the pan at Arizona? Or is he the real deal? And he bet on himself, folks, this year. He took a 1-year deal with the Carolina Panthers because he believed that they had some talent here, but I think he believed in Coach Rule and he believed in Phil Snow that they would know how to use him in the best capacity, unlike the Arizona Cardinals, who kept trying to make him a outside linebacker more so, even though he's a pass rusher, and that's what he says. I'm supposed to go after the quarterback. That's what he wants to do, and he has been doing that. 4.5 sacks already on the year. You could almost have a discussion who has had a better season at this point between Brian Burns and Hassan Reddick. And I think if you flip that question on one, I think the answer to that question is Hassan Reddick there. But I think if you flip or tweak the question a little bit is who's been more important to the Panthers' defensive success, I might flip that question to Brian Burns and saying some of Reddick's success has come from Burns' contribution. I'm not sure. Either way, Hassan Reddick, pay that man, put him with Brian Burns. Let's get that quarterback. His stock is stratospheric to me.
Yeah, and listen, it doesn't hurt to have a dynamic duo, man. 2 partners in crime on the edges. It helps both each other out to have a tandem like that. They're meeting each other at the quarterback. I think it's not a coincidence that Brian Burns is off to his best start after he has Hassan Reddick join him this year, and now he's on the other side of the line. I think a lot of their success this season is inevitably tied to one another. And I really do feel like Hassan Reddick is a perfect fit on our football team. Fast, athletic, aggressive, and I think Brian Burns continues to take that next step. Tony, I keep on mentioning this idea of just getting better. Every time you step on the field, be better than the last time that we saw you. And just looking at the film from all the players that we're talking about, year after year, you see them add more moves to their arsenal, step it up a little bit further every time. Brian Burns looks to be an absolute superstar in the making, and Hassan Reddick is going to play a large part in that happening. And yeah, I do agree with you. I would love to see Hassan Reddick come back on another deal. Man, between him and Dante, DJ Moore, Brian Burns,
a lot of guys.
We're going to have some people to pay this offseason.
A lot of paychecks to cut. Right. Yep. The accounting department. We're gonna have to bring in the dang cap guy from the Saints to help us figure out how to do this. I think Brian Burns is pivotal, and I think it's a lot better to pay Hassan Reddick than it would be to pay Dante Jackson personally. If you had to do it either or, and then DJ Moore is pretty critical at this moment. Given how much we've used him, right, is that you could say that receivers may be more easily replaced in certain positions. But right now, it's hard to replace the productivity and the reliability of DJ Moore. If he could get into the end zone a little bit more, that would be amazing. Sure. Right now, I think that's about all the stories on the beat, Cody, that are worth talking about. I did want to plug the show. I think I'm gonna throw it up tonight.
Yeah, do it. For
I think I'm going to throw it up. Tonight, Cody and I, right before we came on here, recorded a new segment that we're going to be trying to roll out. And that is the C3. We're going to, all these, the title, the format, all a little working, but I thought we had a great first night, a great prototype to build from. The C3 Debate My Take, where it's a debate show between Cody Lashney and Tony Dunn, where we really go after it. Two guys with great hair, great personalities, great takes, but not everybody can be a winner. And Cody Lashney sometimes is going to be the loser, like he was tonight. Anyway, we're going to drop this video where
that's not true.
We got some cool. Actually, let's tease the topics here. Sure. This is what we debated tonight. We had who's going to have a bigger game, DJ Moore or CD Lamb. What was next on the docket? Ooh, I like this next one. This was a
comeback player of the year, Sam Darnold or Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
that was a fun one, man. That was a fun one.
Then we went after and we debated what the best bet or what the bet was to place on the Panthers, 4.5 dogs and over under at 50.5. And then the last segment was, help me out. Oh, this was a fun one too. It was who should not be ranked ahead of the Panthers? The San Francisco 49ers, the Las Vegas Raiders, or the Denver Broncos. And we all had our unique take on who that should be. So you guys look out for C3 Debate My Take. That I'm going to drop it right after this. Man, I appreciate everybody in the chat room. How about this? Is 80 people up in here right away on short notice. At every time I can move the dang show to 8 to 9 to 7:30. These mugs, they're reliable. They're like DJ Moore. Reliable in the chat, man. I love their support. And you know who else is reliable? My co-host, Cody Lashney. Thanks for hanging out with me, my man.
Man, I love it, man. Hanging out with you and these awesome Panther fans in the YouTube chat, man. Dude, I live for this. The Panthers have never been better than they are right now. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already, like my man Panther Rule says. And yeah, find me on Twitter at CodyLac, CodyLac. And keep your eyes peeled to the channel for the C3 Debate My Take coming to your eyes here shortly. Hit that.
So you guys also on the Tuesday night show be a great time to put out suggestions for debate topics as we go forward. On top of that, I want to thank everybody for, like Cody said, subscribing to the show. Our subscribers have been climbing tremendously over the last couple of weeks. We can get bigger though, folks. So I know it's a small. All you got to do is hit subscribe. It's free today and it's free tomorrow. It doesn't cost you anything. We're all also on an audio version of this podcast on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, and you can always find us on Twitter. I'm at cat_chronicles. Cody, you're at?
Yeah, at CodyLac, CodyLac. Hit me up.
And there's a great conversation going on in Discord at all times. You guys make sure you check that out. Don't forget the flagship show is on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. C3 Panthers podcast. The Friday free-for-all show led by Cody Lashney and an amazing group of Panther fans that always show up and always keep counting. And then this week we're going to have a dope-ass post-game show when we whip those damn Cowboys' ass. I'm telling you.
Love it, man. I love it. I'm ready to do it, man. Pumped.
All right. Good night tonight. Let's get out of here before we take we're trying to condense some things, segment some things. Let's go enjoy the rest of our evening, folks. Have a good night, and thanks for supporting us.
Keep pounding.